Hello, everybody. This is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-Minute Histories videos. And today I'm on the 1900 block of Division Street to talk about the Warner T. McGuinn House. This is the third in our 5-part series focusing on places on and around Pennsylvania Avenue. And as usual, I'm pleased to be joined by Lady Brion Gill, who's the head of the Black Arts and Entertainment District on Pennsylvania Avenue. Before turning it over to Lady Brion, though, let me just say a quick thanks to PNC and the Maryland Historical Trust for making this series possible. And then let me dive in a little bit into Warner T. McGuinn before turning it over. He was a Black civil rights lawyer and activist, two-term city council member in the early 1900s. He was born in 1859, 2 years before the start of the Civil War, outside of Richmond, Virginia. He got his start in the public school system there and then went on to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. Incidentally, Lincoln was founded in 1854 and is the first HBCU, historically Black college and university, to grant degrees. After Lincoln, he attended Howard Law School for 2 years, but then transferred to Yale Law School in his final year. And at Yale, he did exceptionally well. Even though he was new as a third-year student, he was elected the president of something called the Kent Club that hosted talks and debates on social and political issues. There, one of their hosts was none other than Mark Twain, the author, who thought so highly of McGuinn that he gave him a little bit of money so that he could focus on his legal studies and not have to work outside the law school. He had been working as a hat check person in a casino in Rhode Island, apparently. In 1890, he graduated from Yale and then soon moved to Baltimore, where he passed the Maryland bar and began working for Baltimore's first Black city councilman, Harry S. Cummings. He also did legal work for the Afro newspaper, which was coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, run by William Alexander, his half-brother. In 1910, McGuinn partnered with two of his colleagues, W. Ashby Hawkins and George McMechen, on maybe the most important civil rights issue that he took on, and that was fighting against something called the West Ordinance. Baltimore City had adopted this ordinance to segregate the city by city law, block by block, so that it was illegal to buy or sell a house on a block that was 51% white. It was illegal to do that for a Black Baltimorean, and vice versa. The three of them took the case all the way up to the highest court in Maryland and lost. But unfortunately, a number of other cities, including Louisville, Kentucky, had adopted similar versions of the West Ordinance. And in 1917, McGuinn helped the relatively new NAACP fight the Louisville, Kentucky ordinance all the way through the federal court system, this time not the state court system, and they won, a really big victory there. McGuinn was also a champion of women's suffrage in a notable speech inaugurating a group called the Baltimore Historical and Literary Association. He cited the consent of the governs passage in the U.S. Constitution, arguing that everybody, regardless of race or gender, had the right to choose their elected officials. He served in the city council from 1919 to 1923, and again from 1927 to 1931. There he was a champion of public health and education issues, particularly for Black Baltimoreans. The Baltimore Sun, which historically did not do a very good job covering African American issues, even the Sun had this to say about McGuinn in 1927. No council member has been more efficient or more earnest in endeavoring to promote the public welfare than Warner T. McGuinn. His record deserves commendation. McGuinn died several years after his final stint on the city council. I think he passed away in 1937. I'm here in front of his house on West Division Street. And if you're ever in the neighborhood, come on by and check it out and think of one of the cities and really the country's pioneering civil rights activists. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lady Brion Gill. Thanks so much.
Peace, everybody. My name is Lady Brion. Thanks so much, Johns, for shooting it over to me. Today, Johns has been talking about Warner McGuinn, and it makes me think about the reason why we decided to move forward with the Black Arts District as an initiative in Baltimore. So many of you know Baltimore is a predominantly Black city, but ultimately the Black community in many ways, especially the creative Black community, lacks the kind of infrastructure and autonomy in our community. So a part of our work is really about building autonomy in the Black creative community institutionally, but also pushing for greater autonomy at the organizational and residential areas in Baltimore City, because we want to make sure that we really have a base of power for Black people to really be able to determine their own fate in Baltimore City. And so as an institution, we're consistently pushing the envelope forward on cultural equity to talk about how do we really make sure that Black creatives are able to have access to resources, have a viable career, have policies that really support the larger Black creative community in Baltimore City. And we understand that that work really necessitates us coming together as a Black creative community, building a base of power and holding local government, the philanthropic community, and otherwise accountable for making sure that public dollars, resources, and the like is flowing all across Baltimore City and not just in places that are already affluent. So much like our civil rights activists, we at the Black Arts District are really pushing for greater equity in the city. And if you want to learn more about the Black Arts District, please reach out to us at blackartsdistrict.org, or you can reach us at our social media pages, official Black Arts District on Instagram or _official BAD on Twitter. Hope to talk to you soon.